On August 4th, 2020, 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate detonated in the Lebanese capital Beirut, killing at least 100 and injuring more than 5,000. This explosion had enough power to create a hole in the ground with a diameter of 140 meters and create the iconic mushroom cloud, synonymous with nuclear detonation. Now the question is, how does the detonation of a nuke compare to the explosion in Beirut? Let's first look at the chemical being used. In this case, improperly stored ammonium nitrate, around 2,750 tons of the stuff. Ammonium nitrate is a common fertilizer and explosive compound, being used in most industrial explosives, around 80% of them. When ammonium nitrate is heated, it begins to break down in a process called decomposition reaction. It breaks down into two main chemicals, nitrous oxide and water. This chemical reaction is an exothermic one and can lead, in the right scenario, to an uncontrolled runaway reaction, releasing a huge amount of energy in a short time. This is commonly referred to as an explosion. In the fireball produced from ammonium nitrate, you can see a reddish-brown color. This is due to the nitrous oxide present and can linger in the dust cloud after the explosion, leaving it with a reddish-brown hue.
Blast, caught on video by those nearby, occurred at the site of a burning fire near the port in Lebanon.
Now onto the shockwave and creator created. The explosion registered as a 3.3 magnitude earthquake and created a hole in the ground with a diameter of 140 meters. People also reported having windows broken at 10 kilometers away, which means the pressure was at least 1 psi that reached 10 kilometers away. One expert, Jeffrey Lewis, estimated the yield to be between 200 and 500 tons, looking at the blast damage, the shockwave and seismic signals, and the size of the crater. Other experts are quoted as saying the yield is between 1 to 2 kilotons. Looking at the same clip, we can also see a Wilson cloud form. This happens when the shockwave produces a temporary drop in temperature, causing water to condensate in the air, and this is most commonly found in areas where explosions happen near water or in humid conditions. You may now be asking, kilotons, tons, what is it measuring? The answer is TNT, Ti-nitrotoluene. This is known as a TNT Equivalent. This system is used to estimate explosion yields and relate them to something well known. 1 ton of TNT is around 4.184 times 10 to the 9th power joules of energy, and 1 kilo is 4.18 times 10 to the 12th power joules of energy. Now that we know our range of tonnage of TNT, we can compare nuclear weapons. The most famous use of nuclear warheads was in the bombing of Hiroshima, Japan during World War II. This detonation was 12 to 18 kilotons of TNT, far more than the 200 tons to 2 kilotons estimate of Beirut. But there are smaller warheads out there. As an example, let's look at North Korea's first attempt. Their poorly made warhead had an estimated yield of 1 megaton, around what the Beirut tragedy was. Looking at a superior United States designed warhead, designed specially to have a small yield and compact size, the W-54 was one of the smallest warheads made by the US and had a yield of 10 to 1,000 tons, similar to the Beirut tragedy. With this knowledge, we can conclude that the Beirut explosion had a similar yield to some of the smallest nuclear warheads in history. But it's still not the biggest non-nuclear explosion in history. That title still belongs to the Ripple Rock test, where the Royal Navy detonated 6,700 tons of high explosives on an island. But the Beirut explosion ranks high on the non-nuclear list, but it's still nowhere near the bombing of Hiroshima, Japan during World War II. What can we learn from this terrible disaster? The same thing we can learn from all other tragedies. We should not store large amounts of an explosive compound near population centers, and the utmost care should be taken when dealing with chemicals of this nature. And people matter more than profits. Well wishes and prayers go out to all the people helping save lives and rebuild Beirut, and those who were killed, injured, or displaced. Everyone stay safe out there, and see you soon.